Tom Thumb. Once upon a time there lived a woodcutter and his wife, who were very sad because they had no children. "If only we had a little child," the wife said, "even if he were as small as my finger." Time passed, and eventually a tiny boy was born to them. The parents named him Tom Thumb. He was so small that he was no bigger than his father's thumb. One day, the woodcutter returned home from work and said, "If only Tom were a little bigger, he could ride with me on horseback to the forest." Tom looked at his mother and said, "Even though I'm small, I can do it. If you hitch up the horse for me, I'll show you." His mother granted his wish. "Put me in the horse's ear," Tom asked. "I'll tell her where to go." So, sitting in the horse's ear, Tom guided the horse-drawn cart. When he said "turn right" or "turn left," the horse did exactly as he commanded. Two men were walking in the forest when they saw a cart without a driver. They followed it to see where it would lead. When the horse stopped, the man was astonished to see that Tom was in the horse's ear. "What a clever little boy," one of the men said. "Won't you sell him to us?" "Not for anything in the world," proudly replied the woodcutter. "He is my son." However, Tom whispered to his father's ear, "Father, let me go with them. It will be an interesting adventure for me, and I feel in my heart that I'll return home quickly." The woodcutter was hesitant to do it for a long time, but eventually agreed and sold Tom for a large sum of money. One of the men said, "We will show him to people for money," and they left. When evening came, Tom Thumb shouted from his pocket, "Please put me down on the ground. I need to stretch my legs." Once on the ground, Tom ran away and hid. The men searched for him for a long time, but couldn't find him. Feeling safe, Tom looked around for a comfortable place to spend the night, and found an empty snail shell to settle in. He was almost asleep when he heard voices. It was a conversation between two robbers. "Let's break into the priest's house and steal his money." "Take me with you," Tom said loudly. "I'll be useful to you." The robbers were very scared. They heard the voice but couldn't see who was speaking. Imagine their surprise when they saw Tom Thumb. "I can enter the house through a crack in the window and throw you the money," Tom said. The robbers agreed to take him with them to see how he could do it. They crept up to the priest's house, and Tom did as he promised. But standing at the window, he shouted, "Do you want all the money in there?" "Shh!" the frightened robbers hissed at him. "You'll wake up the whole house!" But Tom shouted even louder in response, "How much money do you want me to throw?" The scream woke up the cook, who was sleeping in the neighboring room. While she was trying to figure out what was happening, Tom ran off to the hayloft and made himself a comfortable bed there. The robbers had to run away, and there was no trace of Tom. The next morning, the cook went to feed and milk the cow. She took a bundle of hay where Tom was sleeping. Tom woke up in the cow's mouth, and he was tossed around as the cow chewed on the hay until he finally landed in the cow's stomach, along with the hay. "Stop eating!" he shouted. The cook was so frightened that she ran away screaming, "Help! The cow is talking!" "Don't be foolish," said the priest. "Cows don't talk." Just then Tom screamed again, and the priest froze in surprise. Eventually Tom managed to get out of the cow's stomach and hid himself so that no one noticed him. But Tom's adventures were not over yet. The hungry fox roamed around the village, and he found the Tom Thumb. "He'll make a nice treat," thought the fox, and swallowed Tom whole. Clever Tom quickly came up with a crafty plan. "Listen, fox," he proposed. "If you're still hungry, I'll show you a place where there's plenty of food." And he showed the fox the way to his parents' house. When they arrived, Tom said, "Climb into the gutter pipe. You can make your way to the kitchen through it, where there's always plenty of food." The gutter pipe turned out to be very narrow, and the fox had to lift his belly to squeeze through it. Finally, he made it to the kitchen. In the kitchen, the fox stuffed himself so full that when he wanted to leave the house, he couldn't feed back through the pipe. That's when Tom yelled as loudly as he could. His parents came into the kitchen to investigate the commotion. "That's the fox," the woodcutter shouted. "Where is my axe?" "Wait, father," Tom shouted. "It's me, sitting inside the fox's stomach." "Don't worry, Tom, we'll save you," replied the woodsman. He chopped off the fox's head with his axe and then carefully cut open its stomach. Out popped the happy Tom Thumb. "I told you, father, that I'd be home soon," he smiled. Tom's parents were very pleased that their son had returned. "We'll never give you away to anyone," the woodsman said. "Not for any amount of money." "And I'll never leave you again," promised Tom. "I had enough of these adventures for the rest of my life." The Rabbit Reader read for you. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Thank you for watching.